everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Attendance Bias. I am your host, Brian Weinstein. Before we get started with today's episode, I just want to remind everyone that if you enjoy the podcast, you can show your support by leaving a rating and a review of it wherever you get your podcasts. You can also visit www.buymeacoffee.com/attendance bias and donate anything you can to keep the podcast going. Now, on to today's episode. We all remember our first Phish show. All of us, that is, except today's guest, Mike Radicone. Mike's first show was one of the greatest shows ever played by the band, but we'll save it until he tells us which one it was. But at the time, he literally didn't know what he was getting into. He was just a tag-along to a bunch of friends. But there's a silver lining to having no memories of your first Phish show. You get to have another first show. As we're getting ready for Phish's return to MSG for the New Year's run, I felt it would only be appropriate to have Mike here to tell about his second show, December 30th, 2010, the night before the night, when Phish summarized the 2010 calendar year in one show. Listening back to the show and then talking about it brought back a flood of memories for me, but it was really refreshing talking to an enthusiastic guest. Mike is more of a casual fan who spoke as if he was experiencing it all for the first time again. Meanwhile, Mike is also the founder of Datability, a program that helps gather information for special education students, and he is the host of a new podcast called Mastered with Mike, where he speaks to everyday people who indulge their passions to create and master something they love. Check out today's show notes for links to all of his stuff. But I don't want to get it wrong or step on Mike's toes. Let's join him to talk about Irish bars in Midtown Manhattan, fairy wings at the shows, and more as we discuss December 30th, 2010 at Madison Square Garden with Mike Radicone. Mike, welcome to Attendance Bias. How are you doing?
I'm good, Brian. Nice to see you, buddy. This is awesome. I can't wait to do this, man.
Same. It's nice to see you too. For those of you listening, Mike and I used to be co-teachers in the same school, but we've since diverged. Still in the same district, still colleagues, but we don't see each other on an everyday basis, but we do happen to see each other around the same time every single year.
Yep.
Around holiday time, around between Christmas and New Year's Eve, we always seem to meet up somewhere in the city in anticipation of Phish's New Year's Eve run, right? With you and your brothers. I've become an honorary brother to you.
You are an honorary brother. I love it. And it tis the season, right? For getting together for an awesome jam band and drinking heady stouts of whatever type of Christmas beer that's out there. So it's always a good time for sure.
Always a good time, and I'm excited to talk to you today about one of those times, because you today, with the Christmas season coming up, or at least the New Year's season coming up, you chose a really great show that we were both in attendance for, December 30th, 2010 at Madison Square Garden. So we're going to dive right into it, but before we get into that show, you have your own podcast and overall project that you are launching, I think, at the time of this recording, at least, called Mastered with Mike. So, Mike, what is Mastered with Mike?
So it's a podcast about people who take their side projects, their side gigs, their hobbies, and kind of blow it up into something special, right? Case in point, yourself. You know, you are a teacher by trade, as am I. But you have this awesome platform and a really cool show. And I think that's kind of like the whole point of the project is people who take their side gig and they pour a lot into it, they master it, and they make it more than just a hobby. It becomes a passion for them. And I'm highlighting people just like that. So I have people who are contractors that turn into classic car, restorers. I have a good friend of mine who is a crane operator, but then he also has a really lucrative and fun like baseball card trading company. So like these are things that they started as small little hobbies, but then over time have blown up into a big thing for them. And I just think it's really cool because I have a lot of hobbies. I don't know that I've mastered any of them. You know, maybe this will be it. Maybe this hobby will be the one I master, but that's kind of where I got the idea from, just because I have a lot of cool friends that do cool things. So You'll meet my friends.
Looking forward to it. What gave you this idea, Mike? Because it sounds like a very simple concept, but it's so broad that you can do so much with it. So what gave you the idea that someone, like you said, a contractor who restores classic cars, there's a story to be told there?
Yep.
What clicked for you to turn it into a podcast or a platform for people to tell their stories?
Yeah, I mean, it was a few things. Like case in point, my dad is really the OG master of everything. He was a dental salesman turned inventor turned patent owner. And back when I built a platform for a program for special ed teachers to collect IEP data. And back when I was doing that, I was unsure if I wanted to do it or not. My dad was like, listen, even if you fail at this, it's super heady and cool to have your name on something that is out in the world, right? So, screw it, go for it. If it doesn't work, but at least you tried, right? And so he was kind of like the original master in my life, right? And he basically gave me the idea to follow passions and stuff like that. And then after a while, I did it. And then I said, I have a lot of friends and I know a lot of people that did similar things. So I wanted to highlight that story. And usually on other podcasts, you hear from like the PhD or the guy who's already established and a big person in the field. I want to highlight the person that no one knows, right? But has also done something really cool. So that's kind of where the angle is.
What are some of the hobbies you have other than programming different platforms to collect IEP information? What's something that might be a little less niche, maybe for people who aren't in education? If you could take something and make it and blow it up with your name on it, what's something that's really fun for you?
Are you saying that data collection is not fun? Because I beg to differ. No.
You're talking to someone who used to study the back of the Farmer's Almanac to study and memorize set lists and how many times Phish has played a song and who wrote the original version of the cover that they last played in 1986. So data collection, when sold a certain way, I think can be fun.
By the way, RIP Farmer's Almanac. This is the last year it's coming out. Sorry. But what else am I into? Like, look, I play guitar, snowboard. I have this podcast, which is my new kind of obsession. And you can go down the rabbit hole with these things, right? All of a sudden it's like, well, do I need this microphone? Do I need this audio interface? What do I need? Hopefully that's the platform that I have out there. But beyond that, I'm just a regular dude. I teach. I go to concerts. Those are my passions. So.
And where can people find Mastered with Mike? And let's say, before you actually answer that question, if there's someone listening and said, oh, I kind of fit that mold. I'm like you, I do a workaday job, but I have a real passion that whenever I'm not at work or doing work, I wish I could be doing X, whatever that X may be. And they want to get in touch with you because they love talking about that thing. Where can they find Mastered with Mike? And then how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, they can. It's on all of your podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, and then on my socials, it's at Mastered with Mike on Instagram, at TikTok, on YouTube. So everything's there. On those platforms, I have a Google form you can fill out to submit your passion. And look, I am not I'm a giving man. I like all passions, so I'm not turning anyone away. So come on, come one, come all. Show me what you do. I'm interested to talk to you about it. So,
and for anyone listening, I'll put a link to at least the socials or maybe just set to the Google form in today's show notes. So if you have something that you want to talk about with Mike, it's there for you. Check today's show notes.
Cool.
But Mike, ostensibly, you are here to talk about a show from about 15 years ago. I can't believe it was that long ago.
Yeah.
December 30th, 2010 at Madison Square Garden. So before we get to the show itself, we heard about you, the podcast host. Let's hear about you, the Phish fan, with the attendance bias lightning round.
Attendance bias lightning round.
So Mike, when was your first Phish show and what do you remember most about it?
Well, it was 12/30/93 was my first Phish show. And frankly, I don't remember much about it.
Well, where was it? Where was it?
It was at MSG. So 12/30/93 MSG, I believe, because
it wasn't. Sorry.
Well, I did go to a New Year's Eve with one of the shows around Christmas break back then. And here's why I don't remember this, because I was not a Phish fan at all. I went with a bunch of friends. I was like, what am I going to see? Back then was a punk rock, metal, New York hardcore fan. So I tagged along, right? Tagged along. My next first show was the show we're going to talk about. That was the first time I actually went to and cared to go to see Phish.
Wow. So that's a huge gap.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I didn't understand them. I will give them that. Listen, after the show we're going to talk about, it's a before and after, right? I never was, because I wasn't really never into jam bands. I had heard it. I had a gateway drug in the way of Dave Matthews. My girlfriend at the time loved Dave Matthews. That was my gateway drug a little bit, but I never got into Phish until after the show that we are going to talk about today.
Well, who were you? I know you mentioned that you were a metalhead. You mentioned in some of our notes, Van Halen was kind of like your favorite band. But who were you? Like, how old were you? Like, what were your thoughts going in?
It was got to be, and again, it's fuzzy because it was college, but it was either my junior or senior year. I was probably 20. No, I must have been, maybe I was 21 because I could get a drink at MSG. So I was 21 years old. I was not part of the Phish group or the jam band group, although I did also see, I could be misremembering, but I feel like I saw Deep Banana Blackout in college.
That would add up.
Phish adjacent, obviously.
Yeah. I love Deep Banana Blackout.
Yeah,
anyone who's listening, you got to look them up. If you like funk, if you like good funk, as soon as this episode is over, Google Deep Banana Blackout, because they do have some stuff on YouTube. And I think now they play like one show a year at, it's at Toad's Place, I think, in Connecticut, if that place is still standing. And they do like reunion shows every now and again. But man, they're a great old school 90s funk, white funk jam band.
Oh yeah, fantastic. But that was like the extent to my jam life until after this show we're going to talk about.
So what was your most recent show as of today's recording, and what did you think of it?
My most recent show was, I believe, 10/7 and 8 in Nashville in 23. So we went for my brother, one of the Radicone's 40th birthdays. We went to the 10/7 show, and it was so good that we immediately bought tickets for the 10/8 show. Now, do I remember much about them? No.
And what's the reason this time?
The reason this time is that we were in Nashville, on Main Street the whole day, plenty of festivities. Again, they were awesome shows.
So we're talking today about a New Year's run show at MSG. You've been to several of the shows leading up to maybe not New Year's Eve shows. But I know from meeting up with you guys, when I say you guys, you and your brothers typically, we usually hang out in the immediate vicinity of Madison Square Garden, Midtown, right in the heart of it. What is your favorite pregame spot before a show at Madison Square Garden?
Yeah, I mean, it used to be Stout. Love a good Stout. It's super close. More recently, we've been going to some other just beer bar, not that far away, but it's usually Stout or that unnamed tiny Irish place that's next to Stout. I think there's 4 of them next to Stout, and they're all an Irish pub. But typically it was Stout. That was our place to go because it's super close, super easy. Now it's uber crowded at this point, but still it's a good place to go. And usually people know where it is. So it's kind of like a nice meeting spot.
Sure. Looking at the New Year's Eve idea, if you weren't seeing Phish on New Year's Eve, most likely, where would someone find you? What would you most likely be doing?
Typically, we'd be skiing, snowboarding up in Pennsylvania or Massachusetts. Although, if I'm not seeing Phish, we are couch touring anyway. So, Gamehenge, was that last year that they played Gamehenge, or was it 2 years ago? I mean, we were Phish touring for that. We were couch touring for that, and that was amazing. And we'll typically be couch touring. So, for the most part, I try to do at least 1 or 2 shows during the run every year.
So is your wife into it too when you say it's New Year's Eve and then you say we're going to sit on the couch for 4.5 hours?
No. I mean, yes. I shouldn't say no. Yes.
That's a real quick turnaround there, buddy.
Yeah. It's not the first thing she'd do, but she certainly enjoys it. And she typically goes to a lot of the shows with me too. So I just love a good couch tour sometimes. It's nice and drink what you want, watch what you want. But yeah, she'll typically go to one of the shows with me, and then I'll go with my brothers to another show. So depending on the run.
Finally, the way we wrap up every lightning round, what is the weirdest thing you've ever seen at a Phish show?
I used to think it was fairy wings.
That's amateur stuff.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But the weirdest thing I ever saw was I was sitting next to a guy and he was wearing a kimono, and he offered me. He looked like Buffalo Bill from the Silence of the Lambs.
I hope he was wearing more than Buffalo Bill was wearing.
I don't know.
Under the
And
kimono.
then he offered me, and I did not take, but he offered me. He had a ring full of DMT, and he was popping the ring open, sniffing it, and trying to give it to me. And I was like, dude, I don't know that I would be able to last at a Phish show on DMT. Put your ring away. I respect it, but I don't want it. That was the weirdest thing I saw. That was pretty strange.
When was this show played?
Time traveling back 15 years, let's take a look at the 2010 New Year's Eve run to Telescope Out. So this 2010 New Year's Eve run, it was a 4-night run split between two venues. December 27th and 28th were at the Worcester Centrum, a venue I still have yet to attend. And I have a feeling, I can't say never because you never say never with Phish, but they seem to have kind of ignored it in recent years. But the first 2 nights of this run were there at that classic venue. Then the band was off for a night. They did not play on the 29th, which is like unheard of these days. And then they came to Madison Square Garden for the 30th and the 31st. So 2010, my memory of it is that it was an up and down year for the band. And in my opinion, this show kind of demonstrates it all because they had their first year of 3.0 under their belts. A lot of people don't go back to 2009 to listen to major highlights, with exceptions, but they rarely seem to be able, in 2010, to fully relax and just let jams organically grow on stage, because I feel that the fans' expectations were still super high, like waiting for 1994 Phish to come back, but they're just slowly growing and getting there. Trey especially seemed over-reliant on his whammy pedal, which was teased at the time, especially the online fan base, and called the whale call by fans. It's not exactly a straight line, but it seemed like the run at the Greek Theater in Berkeley, California, that was in August. There was a jam in there. If you haven't heard it, go back and listen. I think I did a mini episode about it in the song Cities.
Okay.
And there's just... to me, there's a before and after. It's just like a turning point. And it brought the band to kind of a new level of playing where Trey could give the whammy a break every now and again. He doesn't have to step on it because it had this weird, like, wow, wow, wow kind of sound. That's why it was called the whale call. And it sounded like a crutch. It became a crutch. Every year Trey has a new toy. That year it was his new toy. But the fall tour, closer to this New Year's Eve show, was really full of highlights, which is why I think that August run was a turning point. There was a 2-night run in the North Charleston Coliseum, the famous Guy Utica show, where, of course, in Utica, New York, the show, what I would call the show of the year, October 26th in Manchester, New Hampshire, which was covered on this podcast. And, of course, the 3-night Halloween run in Atlantic City, which culminated with the band covering Little Feat's live album, Waiting for Columbus. So it's fair, in my opinion, to say the band was coming off a hot streak once New Year's Eve began, once the New Year's Eve run began. So to me, this was my first New Year's show. I had never been to New Year's Eve ever. So 2010 was my first one, but I had gone to lots of New Year's Eve run shows. So I remember the anticipation of every night walking in and like, oh my God, are they going to put the balloons on the ceiling? And that just like got me really excited. And so the 30th and the 31st was kind of a condensed version of excitement for me. So I walked into this show, the 30th, really excited, but almost thinking past it before it even started, you know, like I was waiting for New Year's Eve. So listening to it now for you and for this episode was kind of like putting new glasses, seeing it 15 years apart from it. I was able to kind of take it with a new mentality. So for you, why do you have attendance bias toward this show?
I mean, like I said, it's the show that I hold all other shows to when I go to see Phish now. Because like I said before, I was not really a Phish fan. However, at this point, my brother, Greg, the middle brother of my 3-brother trio, had done a full Phish tour. He was following them around all over the U.S. And by the time he got back, he was all in. And he was like, Mike, we should go to a New Year's show. And I was like, first of all, maybe. I don't know what that means. I just know that I know the song Cities, and I know a few songs here and there. I like them. They're cool. He's like, no, but listen, we'll go. Me, you, my brother Chris, another ancillary fake brother, but real brother, Brian, another Brian, Petchower, came with us all. So it's basically 3 Radicones and 2 Brians in our group, you know.
That's a good group.
It's a great group. It's a solid group. But he's like, we'll go. It's awesome. They usually do something really cool during the New Year's run. I'm like, all right, sounds great. Long story short, we get there. It starts a lot. I like the song Cities. So they started with that. And like I said, I never really intentionally listened to them, but I love Cities. And then you go to, Chalk Dust, which was awesome. Loved it. And I like Gumbo as well, too. So far they've played all the songs that I know, right? which was amazing. And I'm like, this is great. Like, I can't wait to keep what's next. And then Quinn the Eskimo kicked in. Now, I didn't know I was a Quinn the Eskimo fan until they played that song. And I remember there was a distinct before and after that song. And I remember the chorus kicked in, and I looked over to my brothers and I'm like, this is amazing. This is what I believe Phish should sound like. And this is what I always thought it sounded like. And then the show went on to just reach new heights from there. But I don't know what it is about the Quinn the Eskimo chorus, but it still, to me, to this day, hits a note for me that I love.
Set 1.
Well, let's slow down. Let's talk about it song by song. Let's start at the beginning and go from there. So you mentioned the first couple of songs, and to me, I love it because it's like opener after opener after opener. And the audience recording that I listened to for this episode, this conversation, is fabulous. My favorite types of recordings are matrix recordings, where you take the soundboard and an audience recording and some audio genius kind of blends them together so you can hear the audience reactions in perfect time with soundboard instruments. This audience recording is like you're standing right there, like you're standing in the audience, and every single song is a huge sing-along. So Cities, it's a perfect opener for night 1 of a 2-night New York City stand. Right? So every single line, every single reference to any sort of city, everyone is cheering. It's like, we are in the city of America, you know?
Dark in the daytime, people sleep in the daytime, if they want to, I'm checking them out, I've got it figured out, there's some good points, some bad. Works out. I'm just find your city, find yourself a city to live in.
There's a huge sing-along right from the first word. Fishman is playing really inventive drum fills. And then I mentioned the cities from Berkeley, California. That was way back in August. But there's a soft jam in this version of Cities, this show opening version, that starts at around 2.5 minutes. And knowing that this track, in retrospect, is only about 5 minutes long, it's more about groove than anything. And then they just suddenly end. It's very 2010. Like right when you wish the band would keep going, they end it. This is when the phrase ripcord became very popular.
Can I jump in on that? Because that was the first time I ever learned that phrase. Now, having not been going to Phish shows the whole time, I never knew there was such a vernacular. And I remember my brother turning to me and saying, it's a ripcord. I'm like, what is a ripcord? And now I can actually recognize them. But back then I didn't know what he was talking about. I was like, okay, cool. Sounds good. listening to it again, it's very obvious. It's also funny too. After the show, I think back in the day, when you had a Phish ticket, you would get the recording that you could download, right? So I actually still have my CD from from the show. So, but I listened to both the CD and the fan recording. And you're right, the fan recording is fantastic. It's really good.
Let me ask you, what kind of car do you drive, and does it have a CD player?
I drive a Telluride, and no, but I happen to have a computer that has a CD player in it.
All right, don't ever throw it out, because the next one you get won't.
I know.
After Cities, they go right, as you mentioned, into Chalk Dust Torture, and it's a great pick for the 2-hole. Whenever, Chalk Dust and another song they play later, we'll get to it, Golgi Apparatus. I think those are the Phish's 2 best utility players. They can show up anywhere in a set list, and it fits right in. So Chalk Dust is a good pick. The crowd gets even more amped up with a crazy guitar solo, but it doesn't really go anywhere outside the lines. Again, it's like a 5-minute or 6-minute Chalk Dust Torture. Trey brings it back to the coda toward the end, and it has a traditional ending, whereas today, 2025, you might expect the Chalk Dust Torture to go 13 to 25, or in Mexico, I think earlier this year, like 45 minutes.
That's insane.
Yeah, no, it could go anywhere. And at this point, I was like, all right, we're still in the first set. They're still getting warmed up. And then they go into Gumbo, which is a 2010 trend of playing lots of songs, where each song lasts between about 4 to 7 minutes. And I was listening and I'm taking notes. It was all coming back to me. I time traveled back to 2010.
Nice.
And we end up with Quindi Eskimo, which has a very soft and low, mellow opening. Now, did you know this song before you heard Phish play it?
I mean, I knew the original Quindi Eskimo from back in the day. I didn't know Phish covered it. And it's funny, I'm like goosebumps right now, even thinking about it still to this day, because it was at one point, the first point where Quindi Eskimo, the chorus kicks in and the lights turned on. And I look over to my brothers and I look over to the whole stadium. I was like, dude, this is amazing.
Well, everybody's building big ships and boats. Some are building monuments, others are chopping down roads. Everybody's in despair, everything going wrong. When the Eskimo gets here, everybody's gonna jump for joy. Come on now, come on with it. You not see nothing like the mighty Queen. Come on now, come on with it. You not see nothing like the mighty. Well, I can teach inside the rest, you know I like my true sweet. Dark fumes and making gangsters, stain my coffee made. Everybody's feeding, the bitches out on the land. When the Eskimo gets here, all the bitches gonna run to him. Come on now, come on with it. Don't see nothing like the mighty. Come on without, come on with it. You not see nothing like the.
And then, it's a simple song too. And it's listening back, it's not my favorite vocal by any mean, but I like the short guitar solo. I've learned to play it since. Like, it's one of those songs that just makes me happy.
It's been covered by everyone. Like everybody, right? It's a Bob Dylan song originally, but the Byrds used to cover it. Obviously, the Grateful Dead would play it. You just said you learned it. What is it, like 6 chords total?
Yeah, it's really not that hard to play. And then the solo, Trey solo, is deceptively simple. It just has a great sound to it. And again, this being all new to me at the time, I was like, oh man, this is amazing. What's next?
And that's what this show is for, because so many people can't remember when it clicked for them. You know, the phrase in Phish is when you got it. And it's so great to hear you describe in such detail when you got it and when you knew that it was for you, because my notes also say hearing the party sing along at 40 seconds is invigorating in 2025, sitting on my couch in headphones.
Oh yeah.
And this whole show is a sing along, because right after that is Halley's Comet.
Oh man, fantastic.
Yeah, it's very standard otherwise, but a really peppy tempo. It's a quick Halley's Comet.
From what I remember and listening back to the show, it is a quick show. Like a lot of the songs are very like succinct. You know, it reminds me, and again, this is sacrilege, but I did enjoy album Phish before I went to this show. So this was the perfect bridge for me to like go from listening to bouncing around the room on album to seeing them live and seeing like, oh man, like first of all, they sound better than they do on album, and just really got me into the band. So yeah.
It's not that sacrilegious to say that. At least I don't think so. My wife isn't home right now, so she won't hear me say this, and I'm glad. And she doesn't listen to the podcast either, so this might stay out of her purview for the rest of our natural lives. But she likes shows, or she prefers shows that have a lot of songs and less jamming. She's like, throw all the songs in. She got into Phish in 2012, or at least she saw her first show in 2012. And she wants like 12 songs in a set. She wants songs that are like 6 minutes apiece that she could sing along to with maybe a guitar solo. And when they're over, move on to the next one. And that's a lot what this show is like. It made me think of her a lot, or at least her preferences. So
Agreed.
what you just said, I don't think is that unusual. But after Halley's Comet, they go right into Camel Walk, which is an amazing segue from Halley's Comet, and it settles down immediately. The name of this set is, at least I saw like a crock pot set, which is
throw it all in.
Yeah, you just throw it all in, you set it and forget it. You know, you just let it go. There's nothing crazy unpredictable, but it's still enjoyable in the end. You get a lot out of it. There's a predictable but fun solo at 2 minutes. But I remember this. This is my biggest memory from this show. At 3 minutes, the PA completely goes out.
Yeah, I mean,
you
it's
remember
funny.
that?
You brought this up to me, and I had forgotten about that. And I asked my brothers, they're like, yeah, you remember? And I do remember that happening also. And that is like, of all the shows I've been to since then, I've never seen something like that happen before or again. So that was pretty unique. Pretty unique.
It was really unique, especially for Phish and especially at Madison Square Garden. I've seen that happen at other shows. I remember, I think it was 2 years ago, I saw Neil Young here at the Forest Hills Stadium, and his PA was coming in and out. It's very frustrating. But when the difference was his band stopped playing, they were like, well, we can't do this anymore. But in this performance during Camel Walk, once the PA goes out, the band doesn't miss a note. And the crowd, you could hear it in this audience recording, gets so quiet. It's only stage amplification.
Yeah.
And the band sings the song. They're like, Camel Walk. Dun, dun, dun. And in the audience recording, this is where I would argue for an audience over a soundboard recording.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, because you can hear the. I mean, when comparing the two, you're right. The audience kicked right in also, and that was another thing that kind of threw me into this band. I'm like, wow, like the dedication. Everyone knows the songs. Everyone's happy. Like there was not a disappointed face in the crowd at that point yet. So
Right, you take it as a joke and roll with
Mhm.
it, which is kind of the Phish ethos.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I had never heard this song before. Right, this was the first time I had heard this song, and this was another one where I was like, oh man, this is a banger. Like I can't wait. I want to hear this more often. This might be one of my brother Chris's. I think he likes the song a lot. I didn't know them yet. I didn't know the song, but I do enjoy the song. So a lot of these songs on this show have gone on to become some of my favorite songs like in the future. So
Are there any songs that were played at this show, whether we've discussed them yet or not, that now you go in hoping they play?
well, it's funny, and we'll probably get to this later on, but I've seen like a ton of Tweezer reprises as endings.
Yeah.
A ton. So I'm at like 80% Tweezer reprise. So, but then I'm disappointed sometimes when they don't do Tweezers. So I'm like kind of hit or miss. It's funny. I'm a simple fella. I like Susie Greenberg. I'm a Susie Greenberg fan. I'll love that song. It just makes me happy. So I'm also like not from this show specifically, but I'm an Alaska fan. I like the simple like jams of that. So I haven't heard it much, but yeah. But this show is all straight bangers for me. So pretty much any song from this show, I would be happy to see.
I think a lot of people feel that way, even though technically this was not your first show. It kind of really was.
Yeah.
Right?
I didn't remember the first show.
And I think a lot of people feel that way, though, about songs from their first show.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's whenever they play NICU, I'm like,
nice.
This is a special song because it's all it's all sentimental,
Yeah.
like sentiment. And so I understand completely. But in this maze, I realized as I was listening, this is the first New Year's run at MSG since 2002. So it's been 8 years, but it felt like a million because the band was off the road for 5 of those 8 years. And
Right.
this crowd, you could sense it. They are ready for it. All the parts are there. The band is not quite as fluid or as confident as they are today, but that's like 15 years later. Considering there's an amazing and a frantic organ solo from Page, and the rest of the band is backing him up. Trey's kind of been the driver so far, but Page takes over in this maze.
Agreed totally. Like, yeah, I mean, when like listening back to it again, like I'd forgotten about Maze, to be honest with you. But it was an awesome version. I've seen versions of it since. It's a great song. I'm a fan. I'm a Maze fan. So keep it rolling.
Yeah, sure. And then Driver comes on, which was great because even as a listener, we need a cool off.
Uh-huh.
We just after that maze, we need to relax. I love Driver. I think these are some of Tom Marshall's best lyrics as like a little guy in your head that like plays you like a puppet. I love the imagery that it kind of implies. And this song, the first note I wrote is, it isn't as played as often as it should be.
It's true, though. You are correct. They are correct. Absolutely.
And this was
Driver-
the only time it was played in 2010.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
It's so funny. And I love, now knowing what I know about the encyclopedic knowledge of Phish fans. I never had that knowledge. I think it might be like a block in my head, but I'm going back. Like I said, I have my brothers to bounce off of, so they always know when what was played. But yeah, I think you're right. Like I don't think I had known that song very well until that day, and I since then love it though. So
yeah, and they follow it up with a big time bathtub gin. The audience, you could hear it, and maybe this is projection on my part. I wrote huge crowd roar. This audience wants the jams because you can hear these big time jam vehicles where we expect huge improvisation to come, even though I guess I'm speaking for myself. It didn't really sink in that, well, the band's not quite there yet.
Right.
They're not that band right now in 2010. But we still expect it when we hear the opening of Tweezer or Bathtub Gin or even Chalked as Torture.
Yep.
It's the first jam vehicle of the set, Bathtub Gin is. And it's funny because Paige kind of misses the entrance in the beginning, but they roll with it. And then I like how Paige and Trey mimic each other about 6 minutes in. It's very mellow. And then a minute later, it is not mellow anymore. Trey reaches shredding status, but they're not quite going over the top. They're like right at the edge. And the band even vacillates between major and minor chords in the jam. So they're experimenting, but they're not pushing and writing it, which it's a weird but interesting Bathtub Gin, kind of like a snapshot of where they were at the time.
Well, it's funny. Bathtub Gin was a song that I did know going in, right? I was like, oh, I know this song. And, seeing it since then, they've done it better, right? They've done it better later on. But this was like a kind of a highlight for me. It was like, oh, I know this song. Awesome. Great. Now, like I said, going forward, a lot of these songs are my favorite songs. But I thought it was beautiful. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and it's a good one to love. It's a good version. I don't want it to sound like I'm shitting on it. It's a good version of Bathtub Gin.
How dare you?
Yeah, well, sometimes you'd be surprised, or maybe not, at the messages I get from people based on my opinions. But they follow it up with Fat Man in the Bathtub, which is I read it as their attempt to test out which songs from Waiting for Columbus would stick around in the rotation, because there's every Halloween album that they play, there's usually about 3 songs per album that kind of make it into their regular rotation. And I think because they had just played it 2 months prior, Waiting for Columbus, they did. And it's really unfortunate, because I'm a big Little Feat fan, in my opinion, that there aren't, I don't think, any songs from that cover album that have stuck around and have become regularly played. I think that a lot of fans, when they get into Phish, they're surprised to find out, oh, this isn't an original. And then they go and discover, especially like Cross-Eyed and Painless. Right. A lot of people might not know it's a Talking Heads song. And then that leads them to listen to Remain in Light. And then they discover this whole musical universe. There's no song from Willin' that stuck around. This song has only been played 3 times total in Phish's history.
Which is like opposite, I feel like, to Lovin' Cup, which I feel like I also see a lot.
Right. And Lovin' Cup was a regular before they even covered Exile on Main Street.
See, I did not know that.
Yeah.
But I do love a Lovin' Cup, but sometimes I get kind of excited to hear what covers they're going to play. I really do. Like, I like to, it's like my sleuth in me is like, ooh, what could it be, And but I again thought it was a great song. I think, once we get to set 2, that's probably my favorite set 2 of any show I've seen so far.
Well, we're almost there, because they only have a few shorter songs left, as was the style at the time.
Yeah.
After Fat Man in the Bathtub, they do this kind of trio of, like I mentioned this phrase before, of utility players, songs that can be played anywhere in a set and keep the flow. So there's Timber Ho, which is a little bit more bouncing again between back and forth of major and minor keys, but not a lot of cohesive jamming. Golgi Apparatus, which is never bad to hear.
No,
and they close it with...
I love that song.
Yeah.
That's a song I want to hear every time I see a show.
Sure. Who doesn't?
It's great, classic, easy.
Yeah, and it's always been around. It's all literally on Junta, their first album. So it feels like it's never been gone. It's never been out of the rotation. So it's Timber Ho, Golgi Apparatus, and then Character Zero. I thought Golgi would end the set, but I should know better, because Character Zero really closes a set. And you feel like you're out of breath. Like my hair was sticking up after the show, after the set was over.
Yeah, agreed. And that's a song I had not heard at the time. And I was like, ooh, man, what's next? Like, that for me also set me up for the second set. I was like, dude, that was amazing. What could they possibly do to top that? Again, like I said, I had no idea how long these shows go, how much they pack in there. So this is all new to me. This is virgin territory. So I had no idea what was happening. And then, set 2 happens.
Hi, everybody. Brian here to welcome you to the set break of today's episode of Attendance Bias. First, thank you for listening. And second, just a quick reminder to tell you that even though Attendance Bias comes to you for free, it does take a lot of work, and it does take quite a bit of money to keep the lights on here at production. So I just wanted to ask a small favor, if you could support the podcast in any number of the following ways. If you could leave a review or a rating of it on whichever podcast app you use. If you could spread the word, telling a friend or someone you think may be interested in it about it. Or probably the most concrete way is to go to www.buymeacoffee.com/attendancebias and donate however much you can financially to help with the continuing costs of Attendance Bias. So thank you again so much for listening, and I hope you enjoy the second half of today's episode.
Set 2.
Well, set 2 opens with Tweezer, which
Boom.
is almost like a
Boom.
statement. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, the first hit was a lot of shorter one-off songs. Now we're not fucking around. Like a big time set to opener. It's the only track from this show that is on the Phish.net jam charts. And it's described as follows. These are the guys from Phish.net. Kind of a mixed bag until the spellbindingly intricate, spectacular, staccato-esque improvisation takes over.
I can see why they would say that. This to me was a face melter because like I was used to the, cities, yada, yada, yada. And then first time hearing Tweezer ever, I was like, oh shit, like this is a different kind of band.
So you went into your first show in
Blind.
93 or 94 completely blind.
Totally.
And you mentioned that you knew some songs, you didn't know others.
Yeah.
Did your brothers kind of prep you for coming to this show, the 30th in 2010?
They did not. They did not. I mean, I think this is not for a lack of trying, though. They would pop them on in the background, and we'd hear it. I'd hear it in the back during a barbecue, whatever. But I never sat and listened, and I didn't know that the band could produce such big sounds like Tweezer. And now then, this was also a big turning point for me also. So I was like, wow. Because I'm a big like Hendrix fan, Stevie Ray Vaughan fan. And between Tweezer and like songs like Axilla, those are like fat riffs, which I love. So,
and this one has a lot of improvisation. For my expectation from when they come back from 2009 is, it's just 1994 Phish is going to be back and they're going to be great right away. To me, this was the break open moment of the show because there are parts where the jam starts at 6 minutes, Trey leads the way, but then there's, like Phish.net said, staccato-esque improvisation.
Very staccato.
Very staccato. And then Paige steps forward, and I thought maybe, I don't know if you know this word from Phish vocabulary, the vernacular that you mentioned. Have you ever heard the phrase plinko jamming?
No, I have not, but I remember Plinko from Price is Right. So
that's where it comes from. And there are parts of this Tweezer that sound like Plinko jamming.
I have to listen again with Plinko in mind.
We'll get there. And then they play Light. And I've expressed my opinion about the song Light many times on this podcast, so I'm going to give myself a break. How did you react when they started Light?
I liked it. I was still kind of like just glowing from the Tweezer. So I enjoyed it. It's not my favorite song by any means. When I hear it again, I'm like, okay, cool. I was really, at this point in the show, I was like, what's next? What is the next big thing that is going to melt my face? And so Light was fine. It was okay. But then moving on to the rest of the show, then it just is an awesome way to end the whole show. So
you're at this point, if I may, you're still in the honeymoon phase where you're just in love with the songs.
Yes, 100%. Yes, every song, for me at this specific show, and again listening to it again, I felt the same exact way. I was like, oh my God, I forgot that they did this, that they did that. So Yeah, I'm in that pink glow, that honeymoon, like what's going to be next? Because at this point now, I'm realizing that I like Phish. Coming into the show, I was like, oh, maybe I like them, maybe I don't. But now I'm enjoying every single thing that they're doing. So I'm just on a ride, on a roller coaster.
So since then, have your tastes or preferences evolved or changed? Do you still go in hoping to hear, like all these songs, not these specific songs,
Yeah.
but a bunch of songs? Or are you more, I guess, like me, where it's they play what they play, but the songs almost don't matter. I'm looking for the jams. Not that
So-
it's that binary, but how have you changed as a fan?
So I'm still a very much this kind of show fan. I like the crock pot, as you say. Throw it all in. What's next? Although I am not against long jams at all. I mean, of course, I'm a high energy kind of show kind of guy. I like the high energy banger shows. Whereas my brother Chris, I think he likes the more Stacy shows. He likes the like really almost Pink Floyd-esque shows.
Split open and melts.
Oh, he loves the split open and melts. Loves it.
Well, as we
2010, loves it 2010, so it's all.
As we round the corner we're kind of in the heart now of this second set. And after that light, which you said you like it, kind of give or take it, I'm the same way. They play Theme from the Bottom, which is a segue from the end of light. And Mike's bass is very, very heavy. I like it. They sound very tight, where I often hear mistakes and some flubs at about the 3-minute mark, but they sound very tight until I wrote my next note. There they are. A couple flubs in the buildup, but it doesn't sound very bad. There's no jam, but they end Theme from the Bottom quickly, and they segue right into My Friend, with a very powerful opening.
Yeah, for sure. This was another one that I had kind of known going in, but obviously never saw live. And I was like, boom, I love this. I love all this. So this was another one where I looked to my brothers. I was like, this is amazing. Right. And they're like, Greg had seen them a bunch of times. He'd been on tour with them. So he's like, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good one. I'm like, it's not the best one they've ever done, really. But he's like, no, it's great. You're enjoying it, Mike. This is cute. But I remember being like, this song is fantastic. And it's one of my favorites. I'm sure it's everybody's favorite at this point. But it's a great like crowd pleaser, in my opinion.
And then your favorite, they slam right into Axilla.
Oh, so good. So good. Actually, after this show, the next day I immediately tried to learn Axilla on guitar because I was like, that is a fat riff. I love that. I love whenever they play it. It's one of my top favorites of all time.
Yeah, with some amazing drums too.
Oh yeah. For sure. And again, look, I hate to keep beating this point, but I knew of their talent, but just the breadth and the depth of what they can cover is amazing, right? And this, I really, really like the drums in this also. I thought it was a fantastic version. I think maybe it's my favorite version, but I don't know. I can't say that because I've seen other versions, but this one has a pretty special place in my heart.
Absolutely. And speaking of the depth of what they can play, next up is Fluffhead.
Boom. Great song. Super fun. I really, really enjoyed this Fluffhead. I enjoy it every time I see it. It's one of those quintessential for me Phish songs that if I'm going to show somebody what Phish is, like my dad, I'll play Fluffhead. And he's like, oh, I like this song. This is a fun song.
You have a cool dad.
He's all right. He's pretty good. He's great. No, I'm kidding. He's great. And he We still haven't. I don't think have we gotten him to a Phish show. Oh, I think my brother did take him to a Phish show. Might have been at Randall's Island. Is that possible?
Yeah, in 2014 they played
Yes.
3 nights at Randall's Island. Yeah.
Yeah. So he did go to one Phish show. And my dad's kind of like, he always wears jeans and a nice tucked in shirt and loafers. So it doesn't matter where he goes. He's got his nice tucked in jeans, loafers, and like a nice smart button down. But he loved it also.
You know what? I think when you go to a Phish show, I think everyone's dad is wearing jeans and a button down.
You're probably right.
But this Fluffhead is great. I wrote my note. I wrote a whole bunch of notes, but I think looking back at it, the last thing I wrote is a little telling. I think this is the highlight of the show to this point.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree or disagree?
No, I would agree. This is a pillar of the show for sure. And it's the first time I heard it live. At house parties when someone would throw on Phish, I'd hear Fluffhead. And it's great. But seeing it like that, I mean, I had the most fun with this one. I think it's a fun, easy, like upbeat song. So, I would give that probably between this and Quinn the Eskimo that kicked off the joint for me. This was another great song.
Yeah, this is a great show for people who want to hear lots of songs and sing along.
Oh,
because they've been playing songs that entice the crowd to just have these big explosions, like "Sure, got some powerful pills," or "Quinn the Eskimo gets here." Like all these
everybody,
right? Yeah. Gets everyone involved, and they don't let up, because after that is this amazing trio of songs that you mentioned way earlier in our conversation. So there's "Boogie on Reggae Woman," the Stevie Wonder cover.
Yeah.
Huge energy, epic explosion of energy with dancey, upper energy, with then 2001 and
Crazy.
Susie Greenberg.
Yeah. What's funny, I didn't know that Boogie on Reggae Woman was a cover before, like I know now, obviously, but back then I'm like, oh, they do like reggae also? What's going on here? I don't understand. But yeah, 2001 and Susie Greenberg. Susie Greenberg is another favorite of mine, man. Like I love it. Whenever it comes on, I'm happy. It's a quick, tight, just a great song. Not too crazy, not too deep. I like that palate cleanser, the not too deep.
Yeah, and that's why I can understand why you love this show. It's because, Susie Greenberg was a great rocker also, and then that ends the set, and then they come on for the encore, and they open with "Run Like an Antelope," which
crazy. Again,
shifts the expectations a little bit, because this has such a big history in Phish fandom. And they play, it gets real quiet and soft in about 3 minutes. It's a quick intro, and Trey and Paige are playing around at the top of the register to start the jam. And then the double time part, where they get really fast and energetic, is at close to 7 minutes. And then a big stop at 9, and a very quick Marco Esquandolas to close. So it's like a very compact "Run Like an Antelope" before you start upping your stats with the show closer of Tweezer Reprise.
Oh yeah, the first and in IMO, the best Tweezer Reprise. Again, I didn't know there was such a thing as a reprise. So I'm like, oh, they played this song already. Greg's like, they didn't. No, it's a different song. I'm like, oh, I got you now.
That's what my mom used to say before I was allowed to drive, because I got into Phish so young, and I would put tapes. We had a 1990 Volvo GLE.
Nice.
And yeah, indestructible car, by the way. It was a box with a tape deck, but completely indestructible, with a 0-degree turning radius. You could just completely flip that car around. I have a real love for late 80s, early 90s Volvos. But anyway, my friends and I would make Phish mixes, as was the style at the time. And it would open with a Picture of Nectar version of Tweezer, and close on the 90-minute tape on the others on the B-side with Tweezer Reprise. And my mom would drive wherever I was in charge of the music, and I remember her saying, "Oh, again with the Tweezer."
It's a different song.
I'll try to explain. She didn't give a shit. Yeah. Do you remember anything about how you felt that night after the show was over, or was this kind of a more "it lives in your memory" thing?
No, I mean, I remember taking the train home and just being electric. I was permagrin. I was so happy. I was like, well, we're going to another show. And we went to the night afterward. I actually did not originally have tickets to the next, there was a night after, right? Yeah.
Well, there was New Year's Eve the night after, the meat stick.
That would be my first New Year's Eve show, I believe. But I remember after this, I was like, I'm just, whenever they come around, I'm going. I've since, seen them mostly during New Year's, although I've been to other shows. Like we went to SPAC a few years ago, which was awesome. And we went to, I would love to go to Mexico, because every year when I see Dave Matthews in Mexico, I see Trey come over and they do a nice little like handoff to the next band playing. So I would love to do that. And you've done that before, correct? Have you?
Mexico, Phish Mexico, as long as you can afford it.
Oh man.
And that, I don't mean to sound like a dick, but because it's outrageously overpriced. It is stupid expensive. There's no way around it. Once you can come to peace with that.
Yep.
Once you realize, yes, it is stupid expensive, and I am spending a stupid amount of money to see this band that I've seen X number of times before.
Yeah.
There's no better way to experience Phish. There just isn't. It's, in my opinion,
I agree.
There's no other way to do it. It spoils you forever for Phish.
I'm sure. I mean, look, what could go wrong with, tropical weather on a beach and 5,000 of your favorite friends that are
in February.
In February, no less. Yeah. It's it's like I said, we would do Dave Matthews every year. My wife's a giant Dave Matthews fan, as am I. And it would be nice to have Trey kind of come up at the end and do some stuff with Dave and Tim. So I would love to do that in Mexico when I have the stupid money to spend again.
Right. After Mastered with Mike gets picked up by Spotify.
Exactly right. Listen, if they buy me out, I'll take it. I'll be half price. I won't take it all.
Mike, thanks again for coming on today to tell us about your Phish Awakening at December 30th, 2010, Madison Square Garden. And again, about your project, your podcast getting up off the ground called Mastered with Mike. Just real quick again for the people listening, give us a quick heads up and what it's about, a quick summary of what Mastered with Mike is.
All right. Well, so basically, you obviously are a fan of Brian's podcast, Attendance Bias. So this is basically people that take their hobby, make it their passion, blow it up to something bigger than it would have been. So I'm talking to people that are regular Joes and Josephines out there who take their passion, their hobbies, and blow them up and really pour a lot of love into them. And I want to highlight people that put a lot of time and effort into, the things they love. So, you can find me Mastered at Mike on Spotify and Apple and YouTube. And then also on Instagram, just put in Mastered with Mike. There's a Google form there if you want to be on the show. Brian, you said you put it up there also. So I just want to, I want to highlight what people are doing. I think it's really cool to show people that put a lot of love into their passions.
And that's it for today's conversation with Mike Radicone. As you could tell, Mike is a little bit more of a casual fan than an obsessive Phish nerd like me, so we had to go back and double check some of our facts and statistics.
Attendance bias fact check.
First, for anybody not in the education realm, Mike built a platform to collect IEP data. IEP stands for Individualized Education Plan, and it's basically a legal document that outlines services and needs for a student that has any sort of learning disability. An IEP can be simple or it can be extremely detailed, and the document is kind of the backbone of special education. Mike's program, if those of you out there are interested, for any teachers or administrators, is called Datability Web, and it can be found at IEP Data. That's IEPDATA.com. There was some confusion about Mike's actual first Phish show. He states that it was December 30th, 1993 at Madison Square Garden, which is statistically impossible. Phish's first show at MSG was December 30th, 1994. Phish played on December 30th, 1993, but that show was at the Cumberland County Civic Center, the CCCC, in Portland, Maine. After some further research, Mike got back to me, and his actual first show was December 30th, 1997 at MSG, a legendary show that has been covered on this podcast, and it's a must-listen for any Phish fan. At the time of this recording, it looks like Toad's Place in New Haven, Connecticut is still standing, although the most recent gigs from Deep Banana Blackout there that I could find were from 2017. Nothing more recent than that. Although there are Deep Banana Blackout dates from 2025 in other venues and performances, so they are still kicking it. Phish's two most recent shows at Bridgestone Arena in Nashville were October 6th and 7th, 2023, not October 7th and 8th. I suggested that the band has, quote, ignored the Worcester Centrum in recent years, but off the top of my head, I couldn't remember the last time they played that venue. After checking, they last played the Worcester Centrum on October 25th and 26th, 2013, so yes, it has been a while. And finally, the version of Cities at the Greek Theater in Berkeley, California that I consider to be a turning point of 2010 was played on August 6th that year. That's it for today's episode. I'd like to thank Matt Radicone for joining me today, Phish.net for their help with the fact check, the Mockingbird Foundation for everything they do to help with children's music education, and Phish.in for the outstanding recording used in today's episode. If you enjoy Attendance Bias, please support the show. You could leave a rating and a review of it on your favorite podcast app, and you can go to www.buymeacoffee.com/attendancebias and donate anything you can. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time on Attendance Bias.